Welcome to another episode with Doing Stuff with Perry. Today, brought to you by My Window Solutions, we're going to get to go out and watch them install a retrofit window in a house. It's going to be a field trip for us. We're going to go out to the job site, we're going to watch the crew, how they set up, how they put the window in, what the sealing process is, the whole start to finish. Real simple for you, quick to get a bite of what's going to happen here. This is a little sample of what we have in the showroom. Shows you your old aluminum frame, shows you the drywall inside your house, the stucco outside your house, and this would be a standard retrofit type window that would go in, and the process is, for very simple terms, we bond the new window right to the old frame. Boom. Covers up the old frame, gives you a whole new window, all the energy efficiency, takes away that inefficient aluminum window, and it's probably not working that well after all these years anyway. So let's cut to the field trip. We're going to go out to the job site, watch the crew do their hard work today, get one of those windows in, enjoy the show.
My Window Solutions specializes in window and door replacement, offering top brand choices for windows and doors, blinds and shutters, security screens, no pressure, fair priced sales, unmatched quality of installation, and back-end service and support. Go to mywindowsolutions.com for a free in-home consultation.
So right now Sal is removing the old glazing beads so that he can get the glass out of the old window. Right now he's using the multi-tool, the vibrating tool, to cut out the old adhesive. Alright, so Sal's cut the center bar, so now if he bends it straight down, those screws will break easily, no damage to the frame. Then he can take the hammer and knock this other side down. Same thing, it breaks right off. Now the window should come out easy, and the frame should be ready for inspection and prep for retrofit. So the retrofit frame of the window is likely going to be a little too big to fit inside of this pop-out of stucco. So the new frame is going to need to be trimmed back to fit inside and not land on top of this. You don't want to seal to stucco, you want to seal to this metal frame. You can see the flange here, it's 1 3/4 inches, and that's the retrofit flange. If you come to the outside here of the window, you'll see that that flange, we'll have to trim that back to fit inside of that stucco that's popped out here. When we trim back the window, it's going to create some we call it vinyl snow, so we want to capture that those little particles so that the customer doesn't live with them forever. So he's testing to see if the window without any trim comes off, because measurements make it very close. So right now you can see that the stucco is preventing the window from sitting all the way down on the bottom, and then it's hitting on the corner. So if we just round off the corners of those windows, looks like that's about the only trim back this window is going to need. Alright, so Sal's going to do the trim back here. We need to remove just a little bit off the bottom to get this window to fit properly. So using the grinder here. Alright, so here's the dry fit after that trim. Looks like the window goes in a little bit better. Looks like we're getting all the way into the frame. We want it tight, but we don't want it wedged in there. So, we want to be able to adjust it a little bit, and we don't want to force it in. So it looks like we got a pretty good fit today. Okay. And we're about ready for the wet fit. So with a little stucco buildup in the corners. So what Sal's doing here is he's removing that stucco so that we can get the window all the way back without taking too much off the window. This is what we call the blind sealant. We're going to put a generous bead of this blind sealant behind the frame against the old aluminum frame. These are our weep strips, or as we call them, drip strips. Proprietary method that we use. We go ahead and put those against the primary sealant, and then we allow them to protrude through under the window frame, so that if any water did get trapped in between our secondary sealant and our primary sealant, these drip strips would allow it to weep out. Alright, so Sal's removing what we call this window stop. That's the top of this is a single hung window. Those are at the top. And he's installing the screw in that place on either side. And that way it can be covered up by the window stop. Once the window is finished, that window stop will act as a cover to hide the screw. So you see that he took it in and then he backed it off to take the pressure off of the frame. You don't want to suck that screw all the way down and pull the frame. He backed it off, and on the outside you saw that Brian was putting pressure on the window right outside of where the screw is being put in, and that's going to keep the window from being bowed in any way, because you want to put the pressure right where the fastener is. So right now Sal is installing the sash. Puts it in at the 90 degree and it tilts right in. Sal's now checking the operation of the window. He's going to check the reveals, just seeing exactly if he's got any bows or if any of the sash lines are off. So now we're going to put in some center holes to lock this window in. If you're above midpoint, you can put a button in it. If you're below midpoint, you cannot put a button in it. So Sal placed those for two reasons there. One, so that he can reach it. Two, so it's not interfering with the mechanism. Notice on that center screw, Sal did not pull in and bow the window. The frames are very flexible, so the center screw, if you push too hard, could put a bow into the window. The plug that's in Sal's hand right here is a 3/8 inch plug. It snaps into a 3/8 inch pilot hole, covers that screw, makes it so the installation looks seamless. This is an expansion foam, but it's designed for windows, so it will not overexpand and bend your frames. So what you want to do is put in enough to fill, but you don't want to create a big mess. Sal's carefully filling the gap and trying not to have too much come out, providing full insulation and support to the window frame. Sal makes it look very easy. There's adjustments on these guns. These guns are much more controllable than the applicator straight from the can. Worth the investment if you're even just going to do a few windows. The polyurethane-based sealants are very sticky and stretchy and thick, so the application of this tape enables Brian here to keep it kind of in control when it spreads out onto the stucco. Yields a much cleaner finished line. Key on sealant is less is more. You can always add more. Alright, so the vinyl trim comes in a variety of widths. We go ahead and get this 2-inch plus width. It's able on every 1/4 inch to be, it's pre-scored, so you can bend it over and break it. Get it to the width that you want, fits in. Then when you're ready to go to put it in place, you remove this vinyl adhesive. It's extremely tacky, very strong adhesive. Sal's now pre-fit his piece. He's removing the adhesive, starting out in the corner, peeling off the adhesive as he goes, making sure it's nice and tight to the bottom as well as all the way across there. Now that the stick's in place, Sal's going to use this razor knife to mark where he's going to cut it, so he can lay it exactly where he wants it. Here comes some talent. You got to cut a square cut, or else your seam's going to be bad. You're going to run a little bit of sealant in that gap, but it's meant to be a clean gap without sealant. Sal's doing the finished sealant here. It goes between the drywall and the vinyl trim. The rag that he has a little bit of rubbing alcohol on it, keeps it moist, as well as it's got a stringent value where it can clean anything that he comes across on this stage. He's already gone through and pre-cleaned everything and gotten it ready for this stage. Locking the butt joint. And he goes back with a clean rag and carefully wipes back away from the corners, down the new caulk line, cleanly putting that into the seam, leaving a nice seamless finish. So I was going to show you it's easier to add than it is to take away, because all that work he just did was easy because he just put the right amount, adds that little bit, comes back with his handy dandy finger tool, makes it great. So that's the hole that we use to install the bottom. We fill it with sealant. We knock it down just below the surface so that the mechanism doesn't bother it. Also notice there's no fasteners in the bottom of the window. You never put screws in the bottom of your vinyl window. What that would do is allow water to get through the frame and into your house. The window channels have drains that drain out to the outside. These little holes and these holes in here allow the water to get out to these outer drains.
All right, that was awesome. We saw Sal get that window in. Did a great job. Looked great. Finished off the back of the house. It was a little more complicated than this. They had to do the trim back version of it, but that should give you a basic explanation of how your retrofit window is going to come in, how the trim's going to look on the inside, the whole process start to finish. We want to thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. Put any ideas down for other videos you want to see. We're looking for them. We've got a whole list we're working on, but we're always looking for more. Comment, tell us what we're doing right, tell us what we're doing wrong, what you like, what you didn't like, all that good stuff. And again, I want to thank My Window Solutions for use of their showroom, able to go out on the job site, be able to have these videos for you. Thank you so much.